We have massive updates in the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up, the number one trending story, not just in pop culture news, political news, but it's been absolutely ripping its way through MAGA Nation. And now we have a Daily Mail bombshell. This story came out yesterday afternoon. Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, is ready to reveal truth of the pedophile client list, say insiders. So why are Republicans blocking her? It's one thing to, Trump made all the Republicans vote yes on the big, beautiful bill. He threatened to primary everybody. Again, the big, beautiful bill is the biggest transfer of wealth from the lower to middle class to the upper class that we've ever seen in the history. It's going to knock tens of millions of people off their health insurance. It's going to be absolutely horrible for people, for the national debt. It's going to be ballooned by trillions of dollars. It is a bad, bad thing. But Trump has political capital within the Republican Party, of course. He's the number one person still who gets to name terms of services, who's going to get primaried if they disagree with them and whatnot. And so all of the Republicans, even though they knew it was a bad bill, they went forward with it. Well, now we've got Ro Khanna and other lawmakers that are introducing a vote. Hopefully this happens today or tomorrow, to unseal all of the Epstein files, to say, make it all public. Now, if Trump tries to get the Republicans to vote no on this, folks are going to lose their dang mind. So here's this very interesting article. Ghislaine Maxwell is willing to speak in front of Congress about the Epstein files, sources tell Daily Mail. Maxwell, 63, is the only person behind bars, serving 20 years on child sex trafficking charges, despite the fact that pedophile Jeffrey Epstein allegedly controlled a web of underage girls. Additionally, Epstein's victims alleged they were passed around as toys to his wealthy friends and billionaire business associates who regularly visited his homes, including his private islands, Little St. James. Now, a source said, despite the rumor, Ghislaine was never offered any kind of plea deal. She would be more than happy to sit before Congress and tell her story. No one from the government has ever asked her to share what she knows. She remains the only person to be jailed in connection to Epstein, and she would welcome the chance to tell the American public the truth. Somebody make sure she doesn't get hurt in prison. Can we get multiple surveillance cameras on her? Can we get her one of those biometric socks my newborn baby wears to make sure the heart rate's looking good? I want to make sure she doesn't, fall out of a window or do whatever, what they do in Russia there when they don't want someone to talk. So what the truth is remains to be seen. Maxwell was convicted in 2022 over her role in a scheme to sexually exploit and abuse multiple minor girls with Epstein over the course of a decade. Yeah, so she's just sitting there. You guys might remember she was trying to dodge the police for a little bit. I think they found her in somewhere in New England, Vermont or Maine or something, right? She was hiding out. Either way, she says, look, I've never been offered a deal. Again, this is according to the sources. She says, I've never been offered a deal. No one's asking for my story. So what does she know? That's the big question. Alex Jones now, and I guess this is a deleted post, so I don't have much information, was calling Trump's shooting a crisis actor. What does this have to do with the Ghislaine Maxwell? I mean, it's just everybody's questioning reality right now, and they should, because what are they hiding from us? And again, I'm not a conspiracy channel, but here's another. I'm going to share several different influencers and what they're saying based on this bombshell reporting.
The Republicans specifically do not want her to testify. Now, there was allegedly a plea deal to get her to talk, but her and her lawyers are saying, no, that never existed. This is a huge development. And if the Daily Mail's reporting is accurate, Donald Trump may be in a worse position than he was before with his supporters, because now if he doesn't allow her to talk, then they are going to push back and say, hold on, what are you hiding?
I mean, honestly, this is about to reach its fever pitch. You think it's already a trending story. It's like, and by the way, they always offer a plea deal. Ghislaine Maxwell, absolutely an accomplice here. She would find these underage women at Mar-a-Lago and other places in Palm Beach, and she would, traffic them. I mean, why else would she be behind bars? And yet, they didn't offer her a deal to talk. Normally, they say, oh, share everything you know and we'll reduce your sentence to 20 years from life or for 10 years from 20 or whatever the case may be. So the fact they didn't even offer her a deal means to me like they don't want to know the truth. Here is Benny Johnson, an ultra MAGA influencer. He has been behind Trump, lockstep, and you can see even guys like this are having a hard time justifying what the story is being told to them.
Okay. So President Trump has acknowledged that the Epstein files exist here. President Trump has acknowledged that the files were written and that there is something there. He says that they were written, however, by his enemies and therefore will not be released. Whoa, what? That's new in this entire zeitgeist. This is something that is wildly interesting. And then he goes all in on supporting Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. No mention of Dan Bongino, where all of this, again, sort of transpired.
So there it is. Yeah, they're seeing Trump rewrite the rules. So if Obama created this fake Epstein list, share the fake list. Let the public pick it apart. We're going to move on from Epstein, and there will be more updates, trust me. But we're going to move on and discuss immigration. New polls, not just left-leaning, but right-leaning. Fox, Ipsos, new polls show Trump is so underwater when it comes to his ratings on immigration.
How is the president doing on immigration at this point?
In a word, Kate, oof. What are we talking about here? Take a look at this. Trump's net approval rating on immigration. Got 5 numbers for you across the screen here. A lot of focus on Gallup at minus 27. That's horrible. Quinnipiac University minus 16. That's awful.
And again, this was Trump's best issue. Now, did he do a good job securing the border? I mean, I guess so. Take what works as far as legally speaking and improve upon that, but continue to criticize the illegal stuff going on, one of which is Alcatraz Island. Here we have climate scientist and whistleblower Rebecca Jones. She's warning that there'll be mass casualties due to all of the issues of having a tent city in the middle of hurricane land.
You know,
it's a death trap.
You think people are going to die?
Yes, absolutely. People are going to die. There is no world in which makeshift tents or even temporary trailer setups would be able to withstand even a tropical storm. So there's wind ratings for every housing structure that's built in South Florida. And South Florida is at the highest risk, which means that any habitat that's built is supposed to be able to withstand, 110 mile per hour winds. They're in a wind zone where it should be rated to 110, but even trailers in South Florida are extremely dangerous places to be, even ones that are wind graded, if you have anything over 30 miles per hour.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have tree limbs shooting through the tents. I mean, it's dangerous for many reasons, right? You've got a bunch of men, women, and children. We don't even know where the women and children are. That's what everyone wants to find out. And they're all in these cages with, very little running water, worms in their food, the amount of disease, the lack of, the air conditioning's not really living up to what they needed. I mean, that's an absolute mess. So here is an update from the Everglades Immigration Detention Center. They called it a highly scripted tour of human cages. They weren't allowed to really go into these facilities, as we shared earlier on the Morning Rush. As these folks were let into the detention center, Maxwell Frost, they'd only let them in at the entrance. They said somebody yelled from the back, "I'm a U.S. citizen." Now, ask me 2 years ago if I think that a U.S. citizen would accidentally get sent and deported. I'd say, no, what are you talking about? But we've seen this play out. And then, they'll arrest people and then months later let them go. And, and it's like, what the hell is happening right now? Are these crimes against humanity? And folks will say, oh, you're just blowing it out of proportion. Well, shouldn't we have the utmost transparency to make sure we aren't blowing it out of proportion?
Hey everyone, it's Representative Dr. Anavi Eskamani. I'm here in the parking lot at the Everglades Immigration Detention Center. We just finished our tour, which of course was scheduled and very curated. They did not allow us to speak to any detainees. They give us about 60 to 90 seconds to look into one of the detainment tents. And when you try to walk forward, they immediately stopped you. And of course, it was really frustrating because one of the most important things to do when you're in this situation is to have a conversation with those directly impacted. And we got those 60 seconds looking at this room with 250 people, about 32 per cage. The men were chanting freedom in Spanish. With that said, we learned that there is anywhere from, I think it was 800, 900 individuals here. They could plan to potentially go up to 3,000, 4,000 in the future. And we're just now learning that a process has been created for attorneys to talk to their clients, but the whole intention is individuals here are essentially deported within 2 weeks. And so it's so important to make sure that folks have legal representation and that they access those lawyers. But
all right, so there's your update. You know, they're not being allowed to talk to people and get in there and really see what's going on. So kind of feels like when, you get a tour of, a North Korean supermarket and they make all the apples look shiny. And it's like, yeah, but what's really happening right now? And in other news, I don't know if this is meant to distract or just another sort of snafu happening in the government. Trump is threatening tariffs on Russia. He says, we tried to negotiate for months. Nothing's happening. We're going to give him 50 more days. And it's like, at what point is he going to realize he's been played? And are they just going to kick this tariff can down the road for the next 3.5 years? Have a listen.
And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. It's very simple. And they'll be at 100%. And that's the way it is. That can be more simple. It's just the way it is.
Tell Putin to knock it off, Trump. Just tell him to knock it off. Have you tried that? Say, knock it off, you dictator. And again, this is the president who said that he would have peace between Russia and Ukraine on day one. I mean, we can't even get a trade deal with them. What are you talking about? So I guess he's realizing it ain't as easy as the campaign promises you make. And what are we going to do to hold our officials accountable? Are we going to look backward and say, yeah, but Obama and Biden and or are we going to look forward and say, let's get some people that fight for us and actually do the right things to help make our country the best it can be? Is that a detention center in a swamp? I don't think so. I think it is really juicing up the economy to help the middle class and maybe taxing the billionaires and those that have been able to profit so greatly from this great country we live in. How about that? Let's go back to fighting for all Americans and those that really have worked to make this country what it is. Just a thought, folks. I know, pretty crazy out here from a progressive. That's it for me. We'll be back in the morning as we are twice a day, every day. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.